Are you looking for new ways to connect with your child in a playful way? Perhaps you consider yourself to be a serious person and don't really know how to play. Or maybe you're looking for new ways to connect to your child and the way they engage in play. Well, this video is for you, so check it out. Hello, world. This is Amy. If you're not familiar with me, I'm a pediatric occupational therapist and I am the founder of Playapy, and I'm here to provide you with some playful solutions and powerful results. Today, I want to do a video that's a little bit different from what I've been showing you the last few weeks. I want to talk to you about a concept that I learned in a book, and I really feel like it's going to be helpful to you, especially for those who have difficulty understanding the difference between work and play and identifying play in their lives. So today, we're going to be talking about play personalities. Now, before I get started in talking to you about the specifics of play personalities and what that actually means, I want to give you just a quick little background of why this is important to me and how it came into my life. Now, I've been a practicing therapist for 20 years, and I've always been self-employed, meaning that I've been an entrepreneur. And if you know anything about entrepreneurs, we're often accused of being workaholics. And I really didn't want to feel like that was true for me. And I didn't really feel like it was true, but on some level, I felt a little bit of guilt or maybe feeling a little bit like a fraud, because I actually have the word play in my title of my company. So how could I be someone who doesn't play enough, right? Well, turns out it's totally not true. I just was not connecting to the full meaning of play, and I was identifying with what other people were projecting on me as their definition of play. You see, the opposite of play is not work. It's actually more depression. And that is according to Stuart Brown, who is a leader in the world of play, and he wrote a book called Play. But specifically, he likes to talk about how adults identify play in their lives. And he came up with this idea that there were certain play personalities. And when I heard this concept, it really shifted my whole thought about myself in this world of work and play, because I started to realize that there was so many ways that I embrace play in my world. I'm someone who is very artistic and creative, and I dabble in creating events and performing at events and creating videos, obviously. There's many ways that I like to engage in playfulness through dance, through actual games. So there's many ways that you probably do as well, and you're probably just not realizing it. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how you identify play personalities and how your child is affected by this, and how what they do right now can lead to what they will be in the future. Stuart Brown explains to us that as children, we develop and learn different ways to play. And we all still engage in different types of play as adults. But this starts to diminish at some point, and some of us start neglecting this part of ourselves. But what happens is that often the ways that we enjoyed play as children turn into how we show up in playful ways as adults. And so he developed this concept of play personalities, and there's 8 of them, according to him. Now, that doesn't mean that you only engage in one personality trait. We all have many personality traits, right? But there may be some that we engage in much more of. So I want to talk to you about the different types of personalities according to the book Play, and how they can show up in our worlds. I like to remember these in alphabetical order. So A is for artist creators. What does that mean? Well, it's pretty simple actually. You know those types who are artists, creative people that are constantly making things and may even hold a job as an artist. Perhaps you're crafty. Maybe you like to sing in a choir at church. There's all different ways that you may show up as an artist creator. So that may just be you. What does artist creators look like in children? Well, they may be your children that love to draw pictures. So you might want to engage with them in a way that you can play with that interest in mind. Perhaps you're drawing silly photos with them or just drawing landscapes, right? I love to ask children to draw self-portraits. You could really learn a lot from a child from doing that type of an activity. So think about busting out your crayons, your markers, your stickers, your scissors, all that kind of stuff. Those artist creators are going to love to play with you in that way. The next is collectors. So I actually am a little bit of a collector in some ways. I have a collection of ceramic dolls that I have purchased in different countries that I have visited. And so this is my way of just finding some playfulness in the world and how I like to capture these memories from where I've been. So maybe you are a collector in some ways. Maybe you are collecting Lego toys, or maybe you collect stamps. Do people still do that these days? I'm sure there are. I'm not shaming you. Maybe you're a Prince fan and you have memorabilia from all of his concerts. That could be a way that play is showing up in your world as a collector. What do collectors look like as children? Well, I remember once I had a little kid that loved to collect little things that he found on the playground. So he might find a little flower or a little bead from somewhere, or perhaps he found a plastic fork. Kind of reminds me of the Forky from Toy Story 4. But whatever he found, he would collect, and then he would show all the things that he found on that day, and sometimes give it to his mom at the end of the day. So I really thought that was a really cute example of how he is being playful by being a collector. You may also have children who love a particular toy, like their Legos, or their cars, or their dinosaurs. So that is something that they enjoy doing. They like collecting things. They like to have a lot of one particular toy. So embrace it. See what they love and buy some more. Okay, so the next one is competitors. Now, this actually probably falls into where we see people think of play more often. So this may be on a team, or maybe you're not the person actually on the team, but you like to cheer on a team. So people who are really into watching sports may find play in their world by going to a baseball game. How do competitors show up as children? Well, you may see these kids loving board games. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you. When I was a kid, my friend, and she will not be ashamed to say this, my friend Erica used to force me to play board games with her every day. And we played so many of them. And I didn't mind, but sometimes it was a little bit much. But I learned to love board games from her. And that was the way that she loved to engage and play. And as long as I was cool with that, I was totally invited over every day. The next group is directors. Now, I find this one really interesting because directors are the people who like to create, say, events or plan things out. So when I think about these type of people, which I tend to be one of them at times, I'm a lot of these personalities, to be honest. I have a friend who was celebrating our birthday party. And so she had never been to her prom. And what did she do? So she created a prom theme for her 40th birthday party. So that is a way where you can see a person who is a director showing up and being playful in their life. So if you have a kid who loves to design maybe their birthday party, or perhaps they design an obstacle course. If they're the ones who not just want to participate in it, but want to tell you about all the details and set it all up, these are going to be your directors. So you may want to embrace that because they may be your future leaders in companies as they get older. Okay, so the next group are the explorers. I am such an explorer. I love to travel. I love going to new places and just walking into a city and just discovering what I might find on a street. And so I would be considered what you would call an explorer. That's how I love to play. And I'm sure many of you do in your own ways as well. All right, our explorer children. For me, I feel like those kids are the ones who like to obviously go places, right? Those are the kids that when I ask them what they did this past weekend, they tell me all about their trip to Disney World and the places they went on the way and where they ate for dinner and all the activities they did. Those kids love to experience things. Those may also be the kids who love to go to the park and they like to explore and see what might be behind those walls and discover all the nooks and crannies of a beautiful garden. So those are your explorers. You might want to put on your hiking boots and get out there with them. Now, the most obvious are the jokers. Now, these are the people who obviously like to tell jokes, but they also are just super, super silly. Now, I have to be honest, I struggle with this one the most in my personality since I tend to be someone who's on the more serious side. Working with children has really brought out a lot of the joker more in me. But in my regular everyday, I tend not to be the joker. But you know those people. They love to play practical jokes and they just are super, super silly. So those are your jokers. How do jokers look as children? Well, this again seems super obvious, right? These are the kids who are in class constantly telling jokes. They might have a ton of friends. They are super silly. They are our hams that we see on the internet every day where parents are posting videos of them because they're super funny and great entertainers. So those may be our jokers. And you might have to laugh at a fart joke or two, some of them, but it's part of the game. Next personality are the kinesthetes. I always have trouble saying that word, but basically these are the people who need to move around for play, right? These are our dancers. These are our people who are athletes. These are people who really engage in movement in their world. You can see some of this in me if you've seen some of my dance videos. I love to create little routines just to have movement. Obviously, a lot of the videos on Playapy's YouTube channel deal with exercises. And so you will see those who engage in movement as a personality trait in playfulness. Kinesthetes as children are our movers and shakers, right? They're the kids who are natural dancers. I love seeing an example of kids who are into their dance class and they may be these super amazing break dancers, or they just like to bust out in movement. They may be our sensory seekers for a lot of us who are working with children with sensory processing. They may be the ones who you cannot stop. No matter how much you take them to the park, they still need to move around more and more and more and more and are dying for you to throw a ball with them and play catch. So that might be a way for you to engage a little bit more in an activity of play that they like to do. Last but not least are the storytellers. Now, I admit, again, I have a little bit of this in me. I love getting on stage and telling stories. I love doing them on camera. But there's also people who just like to watch stories as well. Like maybe you watch your favorite soap opera and that's where you experience your joy in life. And so that may be the way that you are showing your playful personality. Finally, our storytellers as children. Well, I have come across quite a few in my years These are the kids who, when you ask them how their day was, actually even before you get to ask them how they've been doing, they will tell you all the things that they have done since the last time they saw you. And they can't wait to get it out of their mouths. So those storytellers are really great at writing stories as well, but they really are about that connection to people and emotions and all those things. So you may want to just be fanciful with them. Obviously, book reading would be a great playful activity for them, and just taking a story and see where it can go. Now that you understand play personalities a little bit more, I want you to think about how you can incorporate what may be your play personality with that of your child. So, for example, say you are a kinesthete and you love to move around and dance, and your child is a competitor. Perhaps you want to buy a gaming system for your house where they can do dance competitions on the screen of your TV. And that way you're getting to do what you love to do, and they get that competitive spirit incorporated as well. Another example is if you are an artist creator and your child is an explorer, perhaps you can do a little bit of research on the customs and culture of a different country, and you can create maybe some arts and crafts that are related to what you see in a book together. Or maybe you can create a little mini passport for your city, and you can put down different points of interest, and then you can go explore those interests with your child, and they can get it stamped in the little booklet that you created for them. So these are just some ideas on how you can incorporate those two personalities that may be dominant in your family, and you can have a happy medium. But overall, just understand that you have a little bit of all of these in you somewhere, and you just need to find ways in order to embrace them a little bit more to add play into your life. It is so important not only for the development of your child, but also for your own mental health. We all need play in our lives just like we need sleep. And if you are sleep deprived, you are not going to be a great parent. And if you are play deprived, you're not going to be a good parent as well. So find ways in your world that you can incorporate it without having to think of it being super traditional in your mind of what play is. I hope you have enjoyed this video and find it helpful to you. I know for me, it was so important to learn, and I hope that you feel the same way. If you like this video, please like it down below. Share a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content like this and activities and exercises that you can do for yourself and with your child. Until the next video, I hope you have a playful day.